This is the most important list I've ever made in my life. It was made 4 years ago, and it has generated me wealth of epic proportions. Generational wealth right here.
Yeah, sure it has. That list must be then a list of how you're going to scam people on ScamTube. How you're going to pretend to be an investment expert, how you're going to lie about your credentials and swindle people. That must be what the list is. Generational wealth? Well, why the fuck are you on YouTube still if you got generational wealth? You're a liar, you're a fraud, you're a piece of garbage. Tom Nash, what's your real name? Why won't you tell us your real name? Because from day one, you knew you were going to come on ScamTube and defraud people. Tomer Nasher. You fucking rodent, you parasite, you money-worshipping, disgusting scammer. You belong to the parasite mafia, the enemy of humanity. You disgusting, filthy fraud. FTX whore, you lying sack of shit. Anybody that believes this guy, follows this guy, is a goddamn brainless idiot, and you're going to lose your ass. Guaranteed.
And the crazy part about it is that this list today...
Shut your fucking mouth, you loser.
30 seconds, and I'll show you the trading strategies I used that allowed me to quit my full-time job 2 years ago.
Another parasite. This is an ad on Tom Nash's channel. Tom Nash is not only a scammer and a fake investment guru who doesn't know the first thing about investments, and he's a pathological liar. He's also a business partner with this guy, with Toucan Sam. You know Toucan Sam? Look at this guy. Fucking bullshit. Let me get rid of this shit. So here's where Nash talks about now. He wants to apologize, basically. He wants to tell you long-term investors because he missed the crash. He doesn't know what's going on. And so he wants to this is where all these fake gurus come out now after the market collapsed. They have no fucking clue because they just pump the latest hot stock. They're fucking idiots. Oh, long-term hold. If you held this long, dollar cost average. And Tom Nash also throws out his fucking bullshit. I hate saying his name, Tom Nash. It's not his fucking name. He's a fraud. He's a liar. He throws out his discounted cash flow fucking horse shit, which is a complete scam. He doesn't know how to use it, and it's not even applicable to high-tech companies, even if he knew how to use it, which he doesn't. And then he throws out P/E ratio. He wants to focus on P/E ratio. Oh, really? P/E ratio? What did you learn about P/E ratio? You were saying nobody used it. A few years ago, you said anybody that uses P/E ratio is clueless. You see, I made a video exposing this fraud, and when he heard me talk about the fact that I'm a Wall Street top insider, and I claim that P/E ratio is used by the industry, it's used by every credible investor as one of the metrics. Once he heard that, not only did he pull his video down, which I'm going to show you here in a minute because I saved it, but he also started using the P/E ratio. That's how fucking stupid and clueless and as much of a fraud as this guy is. Complete fucking fraud scammer.
The point of this video is that if you watch their infomercials on YouTube, which is just an infomercial for the product, you notice that they talk all the goddamn time about P/E ratio this, and P/E ratio that. Now, all I want you to do after this video, don't trust my word for it, don't trust their word for it, go through their videos and see how many times they talk about P/E ratio as an investment decision mechanism and how it's important in investing, in value investing, in P/E. Go and find somebody who's ever worked in the financial industry, an analyst, somebody who worked in the trading floor, anybody with actual trading or investing experience, anybody from Wall Street that you can get a hold of, and ask them, how do you know that somebody's a clown, a buffoon, and is a fake? If they mention P/E, this is exactly what it is. If somebody mentions to you P/E, that means they've never worked a day in their life on Wall Street or in any sort of investment capacity, because nobody is using P/Es in the industry, literally nobody. And if you hear somebody talk about P/Es, that's like an immediate kind of giveaway. You know that they're just bullshitting. They're not from the industry. It's an irrelevant metric, and you can ask any investment professional, they'll tell you that. The only people who talk about P/Es are little boys on the internet who pretend to be value investors. That's how you know they're fucking fake. Simple as that. Just check me on this. The only metric that people in the industry actually use as far as multiples is price to sales. Nobody uses PE. Trust me, it's just nonsense. Like in Russian we say, бред, пиздец.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Nash, you should go back to Russia, where, very corrupt country. You might be able to work as an analyst there because you're dealing with the bogus stock market. Now, let me just go ahead and be clear about this. Mr. Nash, you mentioned that all you got to do is find somebody that's worked on Wall Street as an experienced investor, a trader, an analyst. First of all, traders, the more you open your mouth, the more it's obvious that you were never an analyst, okay? That's obvious to me. Traders don't really care about any of that stuff. Oh, they're the last people that are going to look at anything in terms of fundamentals, okay? The second thing is that, let me explain to you who I am, in case you haven't figured it out by now. The name is Mike Stathis, and I run a research firm, AVA Investment Analytics. Now, I hope this gets to you because I want to hear what you have to say. Oh, well, he's a nobody. I worked at UBS. I worked at Bear Stearns. I've worked in venture capital, merchant banking. I've advised multi-billion-dollar hedge funds, venture funds, endowments, corporate treasury departments, mutual funds. I'm not even going to talk about my tracker because I'd be here too long. I'm the top guy that predicted the financial crisis in detail, in depth, and I wrote about it in 2 books. I'm the only person in the world that not only wrote in a book, showed people, actually instructed them how to short the subprimes and the banks and home builders, but I'm also the only person in the world that predicted that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac would go bankrupt and be bailed out by taxpayers. I predicted that in a book, okay, in 2006. And since that time, my track record has remained pretty remarkable. So I am a world-class analyst. I cover many things. And let me just tell you one thing right now. You're absolutely wrong. You absolutely have no idea what you're talking about. You are an absolute clown. PE ratios are exceedingly important. And for you to not understand that tells me that you have never been an analyst working on Wall Street. Absolutely not. Now, I'm going to educate all you kids out there who might have fallen for this con artist so that you're going to at least learn something. Here's the deal, okay? And he says that price to sales, that's the only metric that's used on Wall Street. I can't even begin to tell you how wrong that is. That's a joke. PE ratios are very important. Now, for certain stocks, obviously, you're not going to have a PE ratio. The stock has to be profitable. Tom apparently doesn't respect the importance of a PE ratio because, well, that's why he's gotten himself blown up into all these garbage stocks, many of which apparently are not making any money. But let me explain to you, Tom. Let me give you a little education here on why a PE ratio is important. Now, there's many things that are important. I certainly don't focus on a PE ratio, but it's something that you do want to take a look at and keep an eye on depending upon the type of company that you're talking about. If it's more of a value company, folks, let me tell you, these guys they're low yield. You can get much higher level information free online than listening to these clowns. I'm telling you right now, I kid you not. I can point to you sources where you can learn much more than these guys will ever know that are free, okay? But most of you people are lazy. You want to hear something coming out of this guy's mouth, and you all want to kind of create a self-fulfilling prophecy. But let me just go ahead and mention to you why, because you're going to learn this from me, because you're not learning this from Tom or Kevin or any of these other clowns. He's telling you PE ratio is not important, right? PE ratio is extremely important for the market, okay? And the market determines the majority of the moves of all stocks the majority of the time. By the way, Tom, you should know that since you're supposed to be a former senior analyst at a top 4 Wall Street firm. Of course, that's not true. I'm willing to bet $10,000. If you can prove to me, Tom, I will hand you $10,000 cash. He's disinformation, man. He doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy is a liar, and he's a fraudster as far as I'm concerned. Tom Nash, you're a fraudster. You are inflating or creating a persona, a perception of having this stature that you don't have, an experience that you don't have. You don't know what you're talking about. Absolutely clueless. Folks, let him know. He can make 10,000. Let him know. Play this for him. Let's see what he has to say.
Go and find somebody who's ever worked in the financial industry, an analyst, somebody who worked in the trading floor, anybody with actual trading or investing experience, anybody from Wall Street that you can get a hold of, and ask them, how do you know that somebody is a clown, a buffoon, and is a fake? If they mention PE, this is exactly what it is. If somebody mentions to you PE, that means they've never worked a day in their life on Wall Street or in any sort of investment capacity, because nobody is using PEs in the industry, literally nobody. And if you hear somebody talk about PEs, that's like an immediate kind of giveaway. You know that they're just bullshitting. They're not from the industry. It's an irrelevant metric, and you can ask any investment professional; they'll tell you that. The only people who talk about PEs are little boys on the internet who pretend to be value investors. That's how you know they're fucking fake. Simple as that. Just check me on this. The only metric that people in the industry actually use as far as multiples is price to sales. Nobody uses PE. Trust me, it's just nonsense.